Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Black Plague Precision. Today we're going to be talking about a company that I am extremely passionate about. This is a company that really got me moving in the direction of long range precision. Now, I have a deep background in wanting to do long range shooting, wanting to compete, and we'll get into that more as we kind of move forward and we go through this. But today I really want to focus on this company, Wolf Precision. Wolf Precision was really the company that helped me move from I'm still researching to it's time to buy. And I feel like for anybody that's at that point where they're trying to figure out how do I get involved in this industry? How do I participate? How do I compete? This was the company that helped me make those decisions forward. Because if you guys are on this channel, you're probably in a very similar position that I was in, and actually I'm still currently in. It's really difficult to navigate through all the noise of this industry and find enough information out there that can educate you on how to make conscious and smart and financially responsible decisions in this industry. And so that's really my goal. And today we're going to be talking about this. Now, I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself and a little bit on how I stumbled on Wolf Precision. Wolf Precision is a company that really focuses on precision as in their name, right? And there's a lot that kind of goes into that. And when I was going through all the forums, all of the Google searches, right? And really trying to figure out like what do I want to do? What caliber do I want to shoot? What even is all of this stuff? I stumbled onto a podcast, and that podcast was the Wolf Precision podcast. And there's a couple out there that are pretty good. And this is the one that really caught my attention and kept me engaged. And I started with the first episode and I started working through it and I got hooked. And I listened to every single episode. And from there, I sort of traveled over to the website to check that out. I traveled over to YouTube to see if there's anything available over there. I jumped back on the forums to see if anybody was talking about this. And there really wasn't a lot of chatter about it. So I was sort of confused, as you'll find yourself a lot of times in this industry, on what's going on, right? Um, and particularly in this, because as I was going through and I was listening to the host of the podcast, who is also the founder and owner of Wolf Precision, Jamie, I was listening to him and he sounded credible. He sounded intelligent. He sounded like he had a bunch of experience in this industry, both as a competitor, but also as somebody that's actually has a business in the industry. And I felt, I guess, innately that I could trust him based off of what he was saying and based off the years of research I had done. Now, keep in mind that by the time that I had found Wolf Precision, I'd already been looking into building a long range precision rifle for about 8 years. Yeah, that's a long time, 8 years. But it was this decision to move forward that was really drafted from finding this company. As I was going through these podcasts, I was listening to him talking about, the fundamentals of shooting. And so I'm like, okay, he's teaching you how to do the fundamentals of shooting, which obviously is extremely important because I want to compete and I want to compete in a high level. So I was looking for information on what are those fundamentals? How can I create systems that will allow me to repeat and repeat and repeat to a point where I have success. And I started finding that there. And that's sort of what initially drafted me in. And then he started talking about his ACE system that they have patented and how that improves accuracy. Um, he started talking about how people were using these and how they were finding success in their own shooting, how it was being used in some military projects and how the results were coming out for that. But really, what sort of drafted me to move forward was the relationships that he had cultivated in the industry, right? When you're going through this and you're trying to figure out what is a stock, what is a chassis? What's the difference between these triggers? What's the difference between these scopes? Why can you buy a scope, maybe even used for under $500, and then also buy a scope that seems pretty much the same for $4,000, right? Why are there all these different levels of triggers? Why are there all these accessories depending on the discipline you're going to be in? And so, as I started researching stuff like that, and then I started listening to what was going on here, I started to see a lot of things align. I started to see the fundamentals. I started to see these active engagements of how to shoot more precisely, and how to have more accuracy. And then I saw who he was partnering with. And that's really what locked me in here. And I think you guys will see this as well as we go through it, right? Because he not only was developing a new technology, and or at least really kind of moving that forward, which you don't really see a lot in this industry. There wasn't a lot of talk about it. So I kind of felt like, oh, like I'm finding this before everybody else is finding it. I'm really engaging in it and I'm learning it and I'm looking at who is this guy partnering and what is he doing? And that's what we're going to sort of go through today, right? I want to do a walkthrough of the website. I want to show you guys that everything that's on there and sort of what got my brain moving. Now, I would really recommend tuning into the podcast. I believe that I listen to it on Apple Podcasts, but I believe there's a different ways to listen to it. But you should definitely tune into the podcast. Check out some of the videos that are on the YouTube, and definitely really spend a lot of time going through the website. It's going to be a plethora of resources. Now, I do want to mention now before we jump into the website, I have no affiliation with Wolf Precision besides the fact that I bought my components from there and I worked with Jamie, and he's been very forthcoming in everything that's happening. And so I really enjoyed my process moving forward with them, but they're not paying me to do this. I'm not sponsored. I just think that this is a great starting point for anybody that's looking to make decisions, right? And I think Jamie would say this as well, that maybe what they're suggesting isn't right for you. It depends really on what you're trying to do. Now, I will say that he focuses primarily, at least in my opinion, on two areas: hunting and what I think is closer to precision rifle shooting, PRS. Now, he has components that shoot at, um, I guess, tighter tolerances and things like that for better precision, like what you would need to see in F class and what you would need to see in bench rest. But I find that this is really more sort of that direction for precision rifle shooting, or even really, and like I said, hunting, but even really maybe sniper challenges, team challenges, things where you're really like on the move. Stuff like that that still needs to have a high level of precision. That seems like this what this is geared towards. So why don't we jump in? Let's take a look at the website. All right, so we have the website here. Now, what I would recommend in the format for this YouTube is when we do walkthroughs of website, open up your browser, have the website open, do the walkthrough with me, right? It's the best way to really navigate what's happening here to get a good fix on what's going on. Because I will say that one of the most difficult things to do, and let's use actions as an example, you go to all these action websites and you may not know how to navigate them, you may not understand really what's going on here, and so I'm going to do my best to navigate you through these and kind of inform you and give you my opinion and my experiences. So we have Wolf Precision here. Now, the website, at the very face of it, it looks like a lot like other websites. I will note that I've always really loved this logo as a person who's done marketing and PR and stuff like that their whole lives. I just really like the logo. But that's another thing. But as we go through this website, we're kind of seeing what's here now. Um, you'll see, like I said, we're focused here on hunting. We're focused on maybe closer to PRS, but ultimately we're focused on precision. So that's really the key thing. They do custom rifles here. They do pre-built. They have stuff that's sort of already in stock. And I'm not going to read through everything, but this first page is really designed as what you would imagine, which is an informative page. Now, here's a link to the podcast. I do believe that as of recent, maybe in the last year, he has created a Patreon. I honestly would pay for it if you're trying to figure out what's going on. You're trying to get information at a high level that still is a low enough level that you'll understand it, which you'll find that that's a big issue in this industry. People speak at such a high level. You're like, let me go do 3 hours of research because I have no clue what you're talking about. I would definitely find this. And you can see there's 175 episodes, at least from this last one listed. So you're going to get, a good amount, and they're pretty long as well. He's doing interviews, talking about his life, talking about competitions, talking about the company. So definitely check this out, become a supporter. I can't say at this very moment that I am a supporter, but I think it's only been the last couple months that I really noticed that he was promoting the Patreon. So I likely will, just because I really appreciate what's going on here. Now, let's talk about this right over here. And this is sort of what I was talking about earlier, partnerships. These, when we were listening to the podcast, sponsors would start to come on. And granted, before he was even talking about the sponsors, he was talking about the companies that he prefers to work with. Now, my choice for what I wanted to build my first ever rifle on was going to be the J. Allen chassis, which at the time had been discontinued. And so I had to start looking for a new place that I really wanted to invest my time and my money. And I ended up going with MDT. I liked the modularity of what they were providing. And we're going to do walkthroughs of these companies as well. But I liked the modularity. I liked uh, I grew up as a four sport athlete, a lot of athletes, and so there's always this thing, look good, play good. That doesn't always correlate over, but their stuff looks beautiful, right? It's well made. It is expensive though. Then Krieger barrels. I heard of Krieger barrels. Wow, they're one of the companies that has really high level barrels, right? You look up what's a high level precision rifle barrel, and you'll start to find records set through for like bench rest and F class with Krieger barrels. And there's a lot of other ones, but that's one of the ones I remember. And then Trigger Tech. Wow, that's another company that keeps coming up over and over in my research for companies that are suggested for long range precision shooting. So I'm starting to see this company. I'm starting to see what he's doing. I'm learning about everything, his sort of ethos of the company. And then I'm seeing, oh, he's partnered with Trigger Tech. He's partnered with Krieger. Oh, he's partnered with MTN. Oh, he's getting people onto the podcast and actually talking about it and talking about how they're doing joint partnerships. Okay, now I'm sort of bought into what's going on. And I'm starting to get excited because these companies aren't going to partner with this other company that isn't doing and holding the standards that they are. That's what I believe, right? These companies are too high level to just partner with anybody. And so I'm like, okay, this is working for me. I appreciate this. Why don't we dive deeper into what's going on here? So we have, this first website. Look through this. There's a lot of great stuff. And we're gonna go tab to tab, but like I said, it's like any other website in that way. Um, let's go to make this bigger for you guys. So let's talk about the ACE. Now, I am not going to be the expert on everything that we go through. I'm really just here to be a resource for you guys and navigate to you. If you really want to learn about this, watch the YouTube videos, listen to the podcast. If you still have questions, reach out to Jamie specifically. But the ACE system, right? And from the way that I understand it is that um the ace is the chamber, and the chamber is, as you can see, smaller, and it's drilled, or I should say milled separately than what's traditionally done, where you are, and for those of you who don't know what milled is, it's just a high level machine that drills through the barrel, through the entire thing that goes onto your rifle so you can shoot out of it. This is created separately, and there's a lot of advantages to this from what he says. Now, I haven't tested everything long enough. I couldn't say for sure. What I will say is my rifle, from when I built it to when I'm shooting it now, is just shot lights out. And I'm a relatively new shooter. I have a lot of theoretical understanding. I have a lot of practice in certain components like fundamentals, but behind the rifle, time, bullets through, I'm still new. And so I will say that 100 yards, 300, I shoot, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 1,000 yards. My rifle is competing just as well as anybody else's rifle. If I am not getting good scores, it's not because of the rifle, it's because of me. And so as we go through the components, you guys will kind of see what I'm talking about. But the idea is this is milled separately than the barrel, and you can just switch the barrel off and then put a new barrel on, and you never have to replace the ace. And it's supposed to improve accuracy and precision. And so, like I said, because he was partnered with all these other companies, I was like, yeah, okay, that seems pretty good. Was I naive? Am I naive? Possibly. But I figured I'm just going to get the best components I possibly could from the best companies that I could, and I'll let everything else speak for itself. You can see here the different calibers that you can get. I did go with the 6.5 Creedmoor because I found at the time there was the most ability to get 6.5 Creedmoor ammo, and I really wanted to go out. Plus, it has a pretty good balance high level. Now, this isn't the caliber that people at the highest level are shooting, but it's what I decided to go with, and it's what I'm comfortable with right now. So this is the Ace system. Definitely worth getting some time behind it and really learning what it does. So again, he talks about these different hunting, and myself, I'm not against hunting. I just have never been. I've never been invited. I live in California, so this isn't like for me, right in the general area. I'm not doing a lot of hunting out here, and so I don't have a lot of like knowledge base on hunting except for all of my friends who are hunters. But the thing that I do understand from hunting is that, especially if you go on a multi-day hunt, they say, I think it was what ounces equals pounds and pounds equals pain. I think that's the verbiage for that. And the idea here is high level of accuracy with the lowest amount of weight that you can take, so you can actually, ruck this stuff around and be competitive, and be ethical with the way that you're killing. We don't want, any issues on that front. So that's essentially what this looks like. Now, I did look at, and again, as we go through this, you'll start to see these names of the companies that he's willing to put on his website. Now, you'll listen and hear through the podcast, and what you'll realize is he says that there's a lot of great companies, but I'm only going to put the companies that I have seen perform well, and that's what you're going to see here. So you're starting to build this sort of idea. You're like, okay, he's only putting certain companies on here, and somehow, as I do my own research, these are the same exact companies that that everybody is saying, hey, if you're going to build a high level rifle, this is who you should consider. And so it's starting to match up for me. Not to mention that Jamie also has his own shooting school that he's had for a very long time. And so they test these out at their shooting school. And so they get a lot of time behind it, right? It's not just, oh, we go to the range a couple times. They put these on the line. People come out, they're shooting them throughout the year. So they're getting a lot of high level data. Um, but you can start seeing now, the thing I love about Wolf is they're very transparent with everything. One of their big things is that they realize that being in the long range precision industry is expensive if you want to build, which is one of the reasons it took me so long to be able to afford to build. But you will see they're very transparent with the costs, right? Starting at, 30, 46, and you'll see as you go to companies that their stuff is priced more, it's typically priced more here. But the idea was to get the highest level of precision at the best cost. And after pricing stuff out, this is very competitive pricing, sometimes better than where I would find other places. And you get somebody behind it. And if you're brand new and you have no clue what you're doing, even if maybe if you're, maybe you've been a hunter your whole life, but now you want to transition to this, it's great to have a company behind that you can trust. And that's sort of how I felt about it, right? Yeah, I could go piecemeal these out, but then I have to go talk to everybody individually. For this one, I could sort of have the guidance of one company. So, we have MDT, which is, like I said, is another company that's the company that I went with. And you can see for my rifle, I went with the ACC, and this was a couple years back. So the new upgraded version wasn't out, but I'm glad I have this one. Um, and yeah, you can start to see, right? We have an adjustment in prices here, 28.66. We have Macmillan again, 31.34. And we kind of go through these and you start to get a feel for these. And you can see these are less tactical, right? I mean, you can see they're a little bit lighter, especially if you go to the other websites where you can see. Now, if you click on this, and let's go ahead and go through, let's see. I like this one. If we click on this and we're going to go through, you'll see that they start to give you components, right? He's got a YouTube video where he actually walks through this product. So I love the transparency that they're doing this and really giving you a lot of guidance. They have the walkthrough. They have the specifics here, right? So all of the information on that, what the cost breakdown is for most of the items, and what are some of the upgrades. Now, I did do some of the upgrades, and when we get over to the custom built rifles, that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to talk about that more. But you can see a lot of information, a lot of transparency, and you can start to see when they go through. Now, here's another one that I haven't mentioned. So we have the bat igniter action. So if you're not familiar with bat machine actions, they are some of the best actions in the world. They are hyper competitive. And so we're starting to see, wow, we're working with these high level barrels, working with these high level triggers, we're working with these high level chassis and stocks, we're working with this high level action. Okay, I'm starting to see why I might be interested in this company, right? And I'm hoping you guys are starting to see that as well. This is why I moved forward, right? And maybe there's not a lot of information out in the public about the ACE system, but why would all these high level companies be willing to partner with them if the ACE system was shit? That's really the way that I looked at it, right? So I thought, okay, all of these are great. Everything I'm hearing, it must be something worth investing in. If I can be someone who gets into it early, the even better, right? And so far as I've seen it, and at least where I'm at, I haven't seen anybody running the ACE system on the line. So I'm happy to be the only person in my area testing it out and putting it forward. All right, let's look at the long range rifles, which I mean, they're all long range, but comparatively. Now, this is another episode that we're going to do accuracy, precision, long range. All of these vary on the type of caliber you're using, the type of discipline you're going to be doing, right? Are you going to be doing sniper challenges or PRS or bench rest? Or F class, right? Or whatever other thing out there that I don't know about that I'm still learning about. And so, like I said, I think this is geared a little bit more to PRS, but although I bought it for that purpose, I have modified mine to shoot F class with it. And I'm fairly certain I will be one of the only people, and possibly bench as well, only people running an an MDT ACC chassis on the line for these competitions. And I think it's going to compete just as well as any other chassis out there. And I still like the idea that I can create modularity through mine. And if for some reason I want to test out it being a little bit lighter or a little bit heavier, or I want to move where the balance point is, whatever that case may be, I have that ability. And that's what I'm really excited about, to be able to do that. But looking at the website here, now it's been a while, and I know that there was a transition when I was doing this. So far as the way that I read this, and you're going to want to clarify with Jamie that they are helping, they are sending out kits that you can build your own rifle. Now, this is very much like Legos, right? You're not actually building the thing, you're constructing it. And so for myself, I constructed my own rifle. I wanted to know how to put it together. I wanted to know how to take it apart. I will say that I was terrified that it was going to explode, because very close to when I was constructing my rifle, I saw a video where a rifle had exploded. Not their rifles, nothing to do with them, just a video that I saw. And I was just scared because I didn't know. And some of you might feel like that too, right? When you build and construct your own rifle and you go out for the first time and you put a shot off, it can be a little scary. Also, I had the same experience when I was building or when I was putting together my own ammo. The first time I went and shot that, and still a little, weary of it. But um, I think you can get a kit to put it together. It comes along with instructional videos. But most people don't want to do that. And so they want to have it built. And so they found that they'll offer that at at a price, right? So you can get it partially built, you can get fully built, or, you can just get the kit and do it yourself, as far as I know. And that's what I did. And it is some additional fees, but then you have it. So at the time, I was like, I want to mimic what the best are doing out there. And they take off their own barrels. They install all of their own stuff. So, as scary as it doesn't make sense for me to have somebody else do it if I really want to be competitive. And that is my goal. I would love to be able to make one of our competitive teams here in America. And I want to be able to do that. And plus, when you're shooting at such a high level, what I found is these guys are going through so many rounds that they're going through a couple barrels a year. And that means you have to at least be able to take off your barrel and put it back on, right? So, got that, but you can start to see that these look a lot different than what we're looking at before. Now, here's my beautiful baby, although I got her in black. And, and I should say him because my rifle's name is McCoy, but this is the one I got, and I don't have the Elite, but I do have the ACC, and I really do love this rifle for all its modularity. And then you see here's another one, Masterpiece Arms, another company that just has rave reviews. That's on here. Now, I will say that they don't have every company that has good reviews. There's a couple companies that I'm really interested in trying out their stuff. But as you guys can see here, it is not cheap to get stuff in this industry. And I think that's likely why there's not a lot of people in this space doing reviews of products because it's so expensive to be able to do it. Even if you get a product to review, right? Let's say a scope, somebody sent me a scope to review. I still have to get the ammo. I still have to drive out there. I still have to pay for everything to go do that. And there's time in me editing and putting everything together. So I understand it. And this is why I think the walkthroughs are a really good resource for you guys as we're going through that. But I would definitely check out Masterpiece Arms. They're pretty good. Even though I'm an MDT guy through and through, you'll find that I love their gear and that's who I stick with. Now, I talked about earlier the J Allen, right? The JAE 700 kit. This is built on a 700 clone system. They were discontinued and then bought by MDT, which was another reason that I was very excited about MDT because they were bringing back this chassis that I had fell in love with that I really wanted, and they were bringing it back. But after being under the ACC, I just couldn't switch. Right, I do like this. Maybe someday I'll build on it, but it's beautiful. It's streamlined. It's slick. It came out before the ACC, so it really was that new that was out there. And so it is beautiful, but now it is offered by MDT. And there's a lot of weird when we do the MDT walkthrough. There's a lot of weird things when I went back and forth with them that like we own the J Allen, but they are actually going to be functioning under their own business and whatever. And I don't know if that's been solidified or not. It's been years really since I've questioned that, but we have the Oryx, which is a lighter weight MDT product. We have the Macmillan, like I said, great. I honestly love the look of this rifle. I think it's like beautiful, right? It's so nice, it's so sleek, but I just don't like how I don't have more options with it, and that's sort of my thing. And it's really the reason. Had I got one of these for PRS, um, it would have been a big problem for me in a lot of reasons. And when we discuss PRS stuff, we'll get into that. But the big thing is, I still wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do. I was dealing with some health issues, and that's sort of why I've transitioned over to F class and bench rest. And I haven't quite settled there either, but I'm getting a feel for it. But ultimately, I just didn't think I was going to be able to make a transition as easy with something like this. So you want to be pretty certain if you're going to go with something like this because it is very much in its own lane. But amazing work. And again, if we click on one of these, and I'm going to click on mine because that's the one that I went with, we're going to talk about my components and what I sort of did. So you can start to see big price point here. Now, is it worth it? Yeah, because when you look at the cost of each thing, you start to say, oh, well, okay, it is sort of in and makes sense where it's at. But this isn't an easy place for a lot of people to get into. And that's part of the reason why there's not a lot of stuff out on it because right? I mean, not a lot of people have, $4,000 sitting around after taxes when you consider that you don't have anything else, right? You don't have the weights, you don't have the scope, you don't, and we're gonna go through that. But he does another walkthrough here, which is I love, and then I'm gonna come over here to the specifics, and we're gonna sort of look through that together. So you can see here that I went with the 6.5 Creedmoor. I have the ACC stock. Now, I did upgrade, and there was a couple last minute upgrades that I did. Now it would have came with the bat igniter action, and I decided to upgrade to the bat tactical elite. Now, I'm still not super sure like configuration wise. I'm still like learning about this action because it's not listed on Bat Machine's website. Bat helped them design this. They work together, and it's supposed to have tolerances of bench rest with very similar accuracy. And if you don't know, for bench rest, you really have to shoot very tight groupings. And so it's supposed to have that, but it's also supposed to be just a little bit more functional for very quick, bolt movement, as well as with an injector to eject cartridges and stuff like that. So at the time, I was like, I don't really know, but I'm just gonna get the best one. Which one's the best one? That's the best one. So I'm still sort of learning about it. And that's part of what I'm gonna do with you guys is kind of go through these and be like, what makes these different? Why is one designed for this discipline and another one designed for that one? But I did upgrade that. I did get it threaded as well because I wanted to put a brake on it at the time, and luckily, you can't run brakes in F class and bench rest, but I do have a tuner on it, and you can run those. And so I have a tuner, and luckily it's threaded, so I could do that. And that was just a little bit of foresight that you guys do. And when I say threaded, I mean at the very front, you can just get it where it has no threads to screw something on and screwed it off. Or you can get it threaded, and that's what I did. So I could screw on a brake or a suppressor or a tuner, which is what I have, and you could kind of go from there. Now I did get it bead blasted, which was great. I like the look of it, and I think that's let's see here. I got probably the level 2 rifle kit, and I think I might have got a magazine from them, or I might have got that straight from MDT. But you can see here, right? I mean, the price is $3,400, called 4 grand, and then the chassis alone is $1,300 without taxes, right? You have the bat igniter, which is 11. I think maybe mine was actually 1,500, so a couple $100 more. Then you have the Ace system as well. I forgot about that. So I got the Ace on it. That costs money. I did get a 26-inch barrel length because I found that in any discipline at that caliber, that seemed to be the right length. But talk to Jamie about that. He can help you navigate that. And you can sort of see here, lead time is 6 months. I actually got mine quicker. I think I ended up getting mine in like some of the stuff like 3 or 4 months. I think they were moving a little bit quicker at that point. But yeah, I did get a couple little upgrades, and I also got a case through them. So they work with Bison Coolers, who make rifle case, which I love. And I got a case through them, and I got my scope through them, which we're going to go through a little bit later. So it was a pretty penny, which is why it took me years and years and years of research and training and whatever to pull the trigger on what I was going to be doing. So let's go ahead and jump into the in stock inventory. So you can go through here. You can see, what do they currently have in stock. I don't know why they would be in stock, but maybe they just, if you wanted something pre-built, and you just wanted the baseline stuff, they could build those for you, or maybe it's an easy takeaway. But you can see the inventory for actions here, as well as the universal barrels that they have made to go with them. And I'm actually going to probably buy a couple more barrels through them pretty soon. So I have them kind of, ready to go. But, they work with Bat Machine. And like I said, they have a bunch of record holders at Bat Machine with what they make. But they have the Bat Tactical Elite Action, which is what I went through or went with. And here's the thing why I really went through with it was the way I sort of looked at it was the least amount of moving components is what will make this important to me, right? What's the most versatile thing I can get? That's the highest level that I can get. That's been shown to be successful and has the least amount of moving parts that will have to adjust if they get loose, right? And this was a good example. When they make actions, sometimes this rail up here isn't attached and you have to screw it down and then you have to screw your scope on top of this. And my concern was, okay, if I want to go out and I want to see, do I suck or does my rifle suck? Well, how would I possibly know which part of my rifle sucks? I wouldn't, right? Could it be any number of things when you're buying a brand new everything? Could it be any number of things? And you have to recheck everything, recheck. So I wanted to say, hey, I want to put this together and I want to go out and I want it to shoot well. And then if something's wrong, it's me because everything is done correctly. So I went with this rail being built in, and that's an extra cost. This one machined piece here. And there's a lot of things that are like on here that make it special, but that was the big thing for me is why I wanted to upgrade and I didn't want anything moving and I wanted the very best of highest tolerances. Now, Jamie will say that every one of their bat actions are amazing, and maybe you want to go with one that's a little bit lighter because you're hunting or whatever, but they're all going to shoot lights out. But I wanted the one that shot just a little bit better, and that's why I went that way. So they have that. They have the Bat Igniter action, the Bumblebee action, and you can kind of see like mine doesn't have this gap here, and that's all their actions. So they are only selling the Bat action. So if you do want other action, which there are other highly competitive actions that when I look at this industry, I look at the gold standard, and a lot of times people look at the gold standard as an individual, one thing. I look at it as a category. And the gold standard for actions, bat is under that, right? And there might be other like two or three other ones, and that's sort of you get one of those three, and you're probably going to be in a pretty good shape. And the rest is sort of up to you from there. So, bat action, I would say, is definitely one of those. Now, the thing that I really like, and this is an upgrade on their website, is rifle care. They give you the ability to, how do you take care of your rifle with the series of videos, and they're still improving on this area. But I personally haven't been on a single other website in any form or fashion that has a specific area like this dedicated on how to maintain your equipment. Maybe it comes in the box with your things, but this stuff is so expensive. And I know for myself that when I got this rifle, sort of going to the winter, and I ended up getting a little bit of rust on it. And it was very, very minor. I wasn't really sure what was going on. I called Jamie and he said, yeah, that's typical. You have to keep it in a dry area. You have to take care of it. And I think that's maybe sort of what's stemming here is like there is maintenance to these things if you want them to do it, right? Cleaning, making sure you're keeping them in the proper area. If you shoot them when they're wet, getting them like that sort of stuff. So I really appreciate that they went the extra effort here with these care tutorials. Build to order. Now, this is what I did. I did build to order, and I essentially called over there and I said, I'm very brand new. I have some knowledge base behind me. Now, keep in mind, I had spent those 8 years studying. I spent a couple years. I really, really wanted to join the Marines. I wanted to be a scout sniper. I know that's probably sounds cliche, but I felt that I had the discipline and I had the work ethic, and I had the skill set. And yeah, I hadn't shot a lot, but I did shoot when I was younger, and it sort of captured my heart and my soul, and I felt like that's the direction I wanted to go. So I spent a lot of time just studying that, like reading scout sniper manuals when I was really young that I could find online that had been like discontinued or whatever, watching videos, researching all of that stuff. And then I sort of found out that maybe all of the athletic things I'd done in my life had sort of deteriorated my body too much, where I couldn't really go that direction. I also had this really interesting run in with a Marine sniper when I was lifeguard, and I saw that he was wearing his hog tooth. I went up to him and I said, "Excuse me, is that a hog tooth?" He said, "Yes." He was really surprised. Like, how do you know that? It's because it's such a niche thing, and it's because I'd done so much research and I was so obsessed with this. And he's like, "Oh, you're in college," and he's like, "And you want to join the Marines and you want to be a sniper?" He's like, "You're an idiot. Don't do that." He's like, "You should become an officer or whatever, right?" And so for a while there, that was my dream. That's what I wanted to do. But I just physically couldn't do it. And this is where I sort of transitioned into, well, what can I do that I can still continue my passion, right? And what we're kind of doing here. So I have the highest level of all for all people in the military. But the Marine sniper really captured my heart, even though they did just are very soon, you know, getting rid of the Marine sniper and switching it over to what I think they're calling the recon sniper course now. And so that's very interesting. I'm excited to see how that develops. But obviously, every branch has really great snipers. So I'm going to move away from that. But this is how I sort of got on this path. So I spent a lot of time figuring out what I wanted to do. But even then, and this is why I think this is important, this YouTube channel, I was still lost. I didn't know what I was doing. And I told him, I said, I had sort of settled on, okay, PRS looks really fun. It seems very athletic. You need to be somewhat fit, and you need to have, everything you need. It sort of, to me, was very close to what like a sniper would do if they had to be maneuverable. And so that's sort of where I settled. And so I called. They said, "Hey, this is what I want to do. I'm not really sure. I'm thinking about 6.5 Creedmoor. It seems the most consistent." And he asked me a series of questions, and we sort of settled. And I said, "What's your budget?" And I sort of told him. And then as we got a little bit closer, right, that was maybe 4 months out. I had saved a little bit more money, and that's when I decided to upgrade a few of the components. So I did do an order. He did walk me through it, and he did say this is what I would go with if you're looking to be really competitive. And I was honest, right? Maybe some people it might seem very naive, but I said like I want to be the best. That's what I want to do, and I want to know if if I'm not scoring well, that it's not the rifle, it's me. That's how I've always been in life. I've been a coach. I coached wrestling for many years, started a program. I've been a swim coach. I've done coaching for over 12 years. I've done a lot of other business coaching, things like that. And the same way that I would teach somebody else, same way I teach myself, is to work extremely hard, do what others are not willing to do, and focus in on the details. And so that's sort of where I was at with this. And I did go with this, and make your own starting point. And a lot of these pages have the fill out your information. I personally called because that's the type of person I am. But maybe send this over because they have gotten a lot busier since I built my rifle. And then the armory course. OMG, I really want to go out there. I really want to shoot. I just cannot afford it. It's a relatively expensive course. I'm sure it's well worth it. I would have to fly there. I would have to pay for lodging. I would have to pay for food. And I would have to be in good physical health to really kind of do all of this, to take my rifle there because I don't want to shoot my rifle. And so I haven't done it, but they do offer this course. And I think a couple other courses actually like they'll do a course where they'll help you build your rifle in person. They do the long range shooting course. And my understanding is they're offering stuff online now, and that's going to kind of take us into the training portion, right? Um, Now these do like I would imagine right now, which it's November, it's already opened up for next year, and a lot of the spots are already taken. but you can sort of see here and go through this. And here's Jamie Dotson is his name. If you're looking, he's one of the instructors along with other people who are, highly classified. And you can see here, right? We already have spring dates, 5 slots available. They do relatively small classes, but you can see it's a 3-day course, and it's not close to me. And so that sort of does add up. And I had to make a decision. Well, do I want to build the best rifle I can, or do I want to go the course? And understand, and I know I'm talking about, we're looking at these prices, and this is where I kind of go back and forth. Maybe I should have gotten a less expensive rifle when I was younger. And I should have just put rounds down, and I should have just done the best that I could have. And maybe that's really the best strategy to go. But my sort of mentality wouldn't allow me to do that. Also, I was a college student, I was a graduate student, I was working, I had to pay bills. You guys know how that works. And so I sort of couldn't go that direction. But if you can build something for cheaper and just to get out to the range and do that, then do it. But I do kind of believe in perfect practice. And to me, I can't do perfect practice if I don't have perfect system. And not to say that this is the best system ever built, but it should be one of the most competitive things that you can put your money into. And so that's sort of where I landed on it. But this is a goal of mine someday to go out there, do this course. You can see all the subjects that are covered here. You can see the equipment that they want. And I will say that you have to consider this as well. When you're buying a rifle, you're buying the rifle, you're buying the optics. I had to go in for the extra weights, the bipod, the case, the cover, the magazines, the bags, like all of this extra stuff really adds up. And so you think that, okay, I bought this rifle and I'm sort of out of the woodworks now. Well, maybe not necessarily, depending on what you want to do. But when we're taking a look at this, right, $2,000. I mean, it's a lot of money, right? And I will say that a lot of these courses are right around that. It's comparable to other courses. I just think you would get a lot more out of this. But then I would have to go down, and to go over there to do that. And so you can also, do rentals, their rifles and stuff like that. And maybe that would make a little more sense. I do remember that if you buy a system through them, they'll also give you a discount on this if that's something that you wanted to do. They might not be doing that, but I'm pretty sure they are. Looks like they're doing early signups as well. And so make sure you're paying attention to the cancellation dates if that's something you might have to do. But I would highly recommend doing this as someone who's never been to it. But I am very envious at everybody that has, because it does show up in the podcast quite a bit. And it looks amazing. Like, it really does look amazing. So, they have started doing the online course, and the online course, I'll probably pay to go through it just to see what they're doing, because I've already paid for a couple other online courses for precision shooting and for reloading. And so I'm definitely interested, especially if they have a reloading one, because at this point, reloading is the thing that I'm sort of most worried about. Am I doing the best that I can in that area? And then, once I get behind the rifle, I just know that it's going to take repetition. So online school, I would definitely check that out if you have an opportunity. They do a moving target as well, and then they do their reloading class. So like I said, I'm not going to click into those, but definitely check those out. And you can start to see, like, there's just a lot really offered with this company. It really feels almost like the one-stop shop if you're happy with everything that they provide, which I am, because like I said, everything they provide is in the gold standard categories. It makes sense for me. Now, let's go over to merchandise. There's a couple things that I have. Honestly, I was very hopeful that they were going to send me a couple more things, but they didn't. But I did end up buying the patch because I have all the patches for my components in my rifle case. But they have a couple more things now that they didn't have before. They have the log book, they have shirts, they have beanies, they have hats, they have stickers, the barrel cooler. And so some very cool stuff that you can get. Maybe someday I'll buy a shirt or something, or a sweater, and wear it out, rep Wolf Precision. But for now, I'll stick with my little patch. Now, optics is what I really wanted to dive into with you guys a little bit. Now, This is the optic that I had originally decided that I wanted to go with. And keep in mind, it is very pricey, right? It was almost as expensive for the rifle as it was for the optics. Now, that's exactly what I've heard is that um, if you're going to spend a certain amount on a rifle, your optics should be just as much. This is at a competitive level, right? For sort of not super competitive, you don't have to go there, but you can sort of see this price here. Now, these were a little bit cheaper when I bought them, and I didn't actually buy this exact one. What I ended up buying was this. This is the slightly improved version. And you can see this is the dynamic long range one, and it was more expensive when I bought it, but it is really nice. I mean, it is a beautiful rifle. I shoot really lights out at 600 yards. And then once I get out to a thousand is, I shoot pretty well with it, but it is pressing it a little bit. And I am looking to upgrade my scope just to get a little bit more visibility out of what I'm doing. But gee, I mean, look at that. That's beautiful, right? I mean, it really is. And so this is actually the same configuration that I have. I went windage on the left because I wanted to keep my shooting hand on and I wanted to move with my left hand. And I'm not still not super sure that's was the best thing to do, but it felt the most comfortable for me. So they didn't quite have this one, but look at, I mean, these have gained value. They have not lost value because they are that good. I love Collis. I think they put out good stuff, but I'm just not super happy with their like really long range scope that's really designed for like F class and bench rest. And so I think I'm probably going to go to a different company. I'm looking at March personally, but for what I'm doing, sort of like mid range to almost long range, and this is really designed perfectly for PRS shooting. It is a terrific, amazing scope. I couldn't say anything better, but it is sort of expensive, right? So I did go left side. I did go Mills on mine. I didn't go MOA. So I went Mills and then I did go DLR. And so you can see, right, it's sitting at 1849. I want to say that I paid about 15. So it has gone up in value. And even then when I bought it, I still bought let's see if it's here at the bottom somewhere. I still bought this stuff. I bought the sun shield. I bought both of the eyepieces on there, and that added another couple $100, I think, to that purchase. And so you can get the entire thing here. You can get or most everything you need to go out and be competitive. And it's not cheaper. I mean, if we're looking at the system just based off what it says on the website right now, for me, right, we're looking at really about 4,500, let's call it $5,000 on the rifle system, and then another $4,000 on the scope. And I had to buy, I got Badger rings, and so those rings are like $200. And so we're looking at four, we're looking at five, that's 9,000. So, I really say when I talk to them, like, yeah, I'm about $10,000 in on this build. And that doesn't include, well, 10,000 pretty much includes like all of the components that I had to get extra, but didn't include any of the stuff I got for reloading, which you guys, if you've been looking at that, that's expensive as well, right? So this is expensive. I get that. But what I did find perspective, it was really important in this industry. I have, I know people and I have friends who they love mountain biking. That's their thing. They love to be out in nature. They love to mountain bike. Guess how much a really high end competitive mountain bike costs? About $10,000, right? And I found that for adulting, this is pretty much the price range that you end up in, right? You're going to spend about $10,000, right? Let's say you want to buy a new car or a used car, you want to redo it, you might spend right around that, unless you're buying really high end, but right around that to do that. You want to get a really high end cycle, like road bike or mountain bike, it's about $10,000, right? There's much cheaper, obviously, things you can do, but I found a lot of this sort of high end premium select sort of niche industries. That's right about what you're going to spend to be able to really enjoy the sport. And so, was it expensive? Yes. Did I have to get permission from my wife to spend that much money? Yes, right. Definitely talk to your partner if you're going to spend that much money, because it is an investment. But I can honestly say that when I go out to the range, if I'm not doing well, it's because I suck, not because my rifle. And a little added bonus is whenever anyone sees my rifle, they take a second look, and that feels sort of nice, right? Because it is beautiful. It is something you don't normally see on the lines generally. Because I go to the 100 yards and 300 yard a lot, um, because I you have to have a team to go out to the long range 600 and 1,000. So I'm at that a lot. So I do see a lot of people in sort of that thing, but so that's the scope. And there's obviously the info here. So the contacts, podcasts, photos, our story, which definitely read that, their YouTube, their Facebook, careers, testimonials, but the blog is really is newer, which is what I find really interesting. And I would read through this a little bit because they're talking about their universal barrel right now, which again, they do use Krieger barrel, and it is partnered with their ACE system, which I'm fairly certain that Krieger might also make. I'm not super sure on that. Don't quote me, but it would make sense. Or maybe they do it themselves, actually, now that I think about it. But you can see, right, this blog is a lot more detailed, goes into especially like this system, and and they have this blog. And so definitely check all this out. So that is essentially our walkthrough. Let's jump back over. So that is our walkthrough of the Wolf Precision website, home of the ACE. I would definitely recommend paying attention to what's going on there. See if you can grasp any information. Maybe you're not yet in the market, or maybe you're looking to upgrade, but either way, information is power, and this company is giving it out tenfold. And as I would highly recommend it. And as we go through other companies, we'll highlight what they're doing well and what maybe they can improve on, and definitely what you can do to learn more from them and how you can better set yourself up to be successful. But this is Wolf Precision today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.